Everything is chaos.
Want to go first this time, or you?
Hi, I'm Cass.
And I'm Kayle.
This is Rooted.
Episode 3.
I was going to say season 1, episode 3, but we haven't been saying that.
It'll be on the screen over
So
there.
here we go.
So, I just wanted to jump into something that is quite common in our lives, and that is the fact that it is 1:37 in the morning, and here we are.
Yeah.
And not just that this isn't typical, right? We don't stay up till 1:40 reading the Bible with each other often. Like, let's not pretend here.
No.
Nor are we recording or whatever, but we often are awake this late. And I remember it was yesterday. I was in a room and people were talking about when like they go to bed. And it was like 9 something. And they were like, "Oh, it's past my bedtime. I gotta go to bed." And I was like, "Bro, what? Like, maybe I'm in bed by 9 or 10, but I'm not asleep until 1 or 2.
Yeah.
And everyone in the comments was like, "Oh my gosh, for real? Nope, not me. I gotta get my sleep, this, that, and the third." But it got me thinking. I don't think that you and I stay up as late as we do because we like hate ourselves. I think there's something about living a life where our children really do come first in so many ways.
Yeah.
But our marriage, we've both been in marriages before where we were not the other person's priority. I think that's fair to say. I obviously can't speak for you, but I certainly have been in a marriage where I was not even just not the priority, not a priority.
Yeah.
And I think you and I, from both of our combined past marital trauma, we really go out of our way to ensure that we're pouring into each other, that we're taking the time every day, if we can, to do something together.
Yeah.
But our older kids are not babies anymore, and they don't go to bed at 7 o'clock.
No.
And so for us to get this time, anytime, it feels like it has to be at 1 o'clock in the morning.
Here we are.
You know, whether the kids are up, you know, whatever, working on stuff or whatever it is that they do late at night, whether they're not sleeping yet.
Reading, watching TV.
It gets us to a point where we don't get a real 10-minute block of uninterrupted time together until midnight. And it's easy, I think, to see that as something to complain about. But we have children that are happy enough and that feel comfortable enough in this home to be up and be doing their life and living their life. And we know we'll get the time later. And like we may complain about it during the day, right? How tired we are or whatever, but we love the time we get with them. And then we love the time we get together. It just happens to mean that we don't get to sleep. but I think it's important. And I think that's kind of what I want to talk about today was our kids are our priority in so many facets of life. But taking the time to be intentional with your spouse is make or break.
Yeah.
100% make or break.
Yeah.
So I don't really know where this conversation goes from there. That was just the topic that came to mind. I reflect on my previous marriage and the days that turned into weeks, that turned into months, where I was hoping for some kind of interaction more than on a roommate level. And I think that we have something so beautiful and different from what I had there, because we not only do we not let the sun go down on our anger, but we don't let, what's the word I'm looking for? Like complacency take the front seat to intimacy. Right? We don't just go, oh, Monday came, oh, now it's Friday, now it's Sunday. How's it Monday again? And we haven't taken 5 minutes to hang out. Like, we'll stay up till 2 o'clock in the morning if that is what it takes for us to have a conversation. Even if it's about nothing. We can eat junk food and watch trash TV and be next to each other, and it'll be 2 o'clock in the morning-ish, and we'll be like, at least we did it.
Yeah. So we do the, hey, I have homework. Hey, I've got the meeting. Hey, I've got the thing. What time do you think you're going to be coming to bed? And it's not, you better be to bed right now. It's, okay, should I plan to read a chapter of something? Should I watch something? Should I just sit here and wait? Because sometimes, like, I think almost all the time, the light in the room is the TV. And I don't know that that's a healthy habit, honestly.
We literally have lights above each of our nightstands,
Well,
and when we
that's the
have to get up to
problem.
do something, we'll grab the remote and use the TV as the light.
Yeah.
Like for real.
Well, so we have the lights.
Yeah.
And they'll be on, and because it hangs lower than the actual shade, one of us is being tortured.
Yeah.
And then the lights over the fireplace are far. So anyway, the lights aren't the point. The point is, even on the days where the TV's on but not being utilized, we'll sit up till 2 or 3 in the morning just talking.
Yeah.
You'll tell me about whatever's going on in your day. And because we miss each other so often, we pass each other. And you would think that working from home, homeschooling the kids, doing all the in-the-home things would allow us to see each other more. But it's actually made it so that we have to master our time, even in the same house.
Let's not get it twisted. It makes you have to master our time.
Oh, that's right.
You're the planner.
That's
You just
how
tell me
I
where to be,
be.
when to be there, and I'm gonna show up.
Yeah, but I do think that being intentional, even with the late night discussions, and I mean, how many times have we started discussions while the TV was rolling and we had to just pause whatever it was we were trying to do because we decided we were going to sit and chit chat?
Honestly, I think we've lost entire shows. Where like a year later, we'll be like, weren't we watching that?
But that's part of parenting. I do assume, anyway, once all of the kids are grown and gone and have their own families, there's going to be a lull and a quiet in the house that allows us to, at 7 o'clock, go, okay, I guess it's time to go to bed, right? Because we're way past the years of staying up late just to stay up late. I don't enjoy it anymore like I used to. But yeah, here we are, up late.
See, but I enjoy it in a different flavor, right? Like 2 a.m. used to be a whole different kind of I'm excited to be awake.
You're not wrong.
You know what I'm saying? 2 a.m. awake with you is different because it's almost never empty. Yeah. And even in the times when it's superficial in nature, it's lighthearted, we're not like in some deep, theological conversation or unpacking trauma or grief from the past. When we're just hanging out, just like the proverbial bra off sweatpants mentality, you know what I'm saying? The connection that we build together is why, we've been together, it'll be 12 years soon, right? Well, in the 12th year, whatever. Yeah. It's been a minute. Yeah. And like year over year, if you were to plot our connection and our everything with each other, it's up and to the right, like consistently. And it's because we take that time, and that's what it's all about. Sometimes we stay up and we deep dive. I'm like, hey babe, this is what I read in the Word today, and I'm gonna be real, this really threw me off. Yeah. This part does not make sense to me the way I understand things. And you'll give me your perspective, and you don't really come to me as much with that because you kind of grew up in this, but we can dive into what the Word says and stay up all night. Or not. Or we can just sit up and talk about literally whatever. We are adult onset ADHD takes conversations down rabbit holes that I don't even like. At the end of the conversation, we'll be like, what did we just spend 3 hours talking about? But kind of like what we were talking about on the last episode, it almost doesn't even matter what it is that you're doing, right? It's the intentionality behind it. Right. It's the fact that we're choosing each other in our time. I could be in the basement carving wood till 5 a.m. every day to try to make money and not seeing you. Right. And like maybe that would financially benefit our family. It would give me something to do and get that gratification of immediately solving something. But like we set the things we could be doing to the side to build this together. Yeah. And I think we also look at one another in a biblical sense. We look at each other as the person created to help the other person. Mm-hmm. And also simultaneously being one person. Right? The Word tells us we were joined as one flesh. So we don't look at each other like the thing we got to get away from to go be productive. Right. Right? Like I look at you like the phone charger to my phone, right? Like I can't get through my day if I don't check in with you, get my cup filled in only the way you can. I can get my cup filled through the boys and through whatever, but it's like there's compartments in my cup and the center of it is Jesus and my wife. Right. And like nothing else can fill that. I need our conversations, whatever whatever the topic is. And I think that's something a lot of people lose, especially over time. And we haven't been together 50 years, so I don't know what that looks like yet. But there's dudes in the motorcycle club, we'll go out for the weekend, and, you know, they're like, Friday night comes in, we all get in, we're all setting up tents, and they're like, man, I'm so excited to be away from the wife and the kids. And I can't even fully hear them, and they'll be like, yo, did you hear me? And I'm like, hold on. I'm watching the baby monitor. I'm checking on my little girl. Oh, and they're like, oh, okay. So what I said, I'm like, oh, hey, hold on. I'm FaceTiming my wife. I just want to say goodnight. And they're like, bro, you've been away for 10 hours. And I'm like, okay, but that's my God-given best friend. Like, you're not. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know.
Well, I think it comes from a place of friendship.
Yeah.
Truly, though. And it's cute when everyone says, oh, my spouse is my best friend, they're my best friend, they're my best friend, but then go out and say, oh, I need a girl's night, I need a guy's night. That's not saying you shouldn't be out with friends at some point, you know, grab a coffee, whatever. But, like, I think that when something happens in your day, if your knee-jerk reaction isn't, I gotta tell my spouse about that, because you want to. The same way when you're in high school and you go, I gotta tell my best friend about that, right? That's who we are. We have to have at least a person.
Right.
You start out young telling your mom or dad, then you get older and you tell your friends, and then finally, when you have a spouse that is your best friend, you're one. So what happens to me happens to you. And what happens to you happens to me.
And it's a little deeper than
communicating it. There's a problem.
100%. And it's a little deeper than that, too. It's not just like, oh man, something cool happened, I want to tell my best friend. Right. It's also I screwed up and I have to tell my best friend. Mm-hmm. The accountability aspect of a biblical marriage is something I still struggle with. Mm-hmm. I came to you 2 weeks ago and was like, so I've been hanging on to this for a couple months, but I fell short. And not like, you know, wait, whatever, I'm not going to get into it. Right. I'm just saying it wasn't like, whatever. I don't know.
You don't tell me. I had the conversation.
No, I'm just like for the cameras. You know what I'm saying? I didn't like.
It's none of your business.
Whatever. But I'm just saying.
That big of a deal.
I'm saying though, it's like I'm excited to tell you about my wins, but I, in my spirit, have to tell you about my struggles.
Right.
Because we are the same person, and what I let have a foothold on my life and my situation bleeds into this marriage, whether I want it to or not.
Yeah.
If I'm having a wandering eye off this way and I don't communicate where I'm at with that, that's slowly, if I don't get it in check and bring that to your attention and we intercede together, we'll slowly get in as close to in between us as it can. Right? The enemy may be on a leash, but he's clever and he knows where we all fall short. He knows what I struggle with. He's watched me for 34 years. He knows what is in my lineage. He knows what my family struggles with. And I hear the whispers all day long. I've been sober from alcohol for over 3 years now, and I think about it all the time. Yeah. Every bad day is, hey, wouldn't that make it a little better? Wouldn't that take the edge off? Whatever. And bringing stuff like that to you, let me put it this way. I heard it put this way as an analogy one time, and it stuck with me, and you've heard it 100 times, but back in like ancient biblical times, right, when like Rome was like, the whole Roman Empire was basically the whole modern world. Mm-hmm. Before Roman soldiers went into battle, they had an assigned brother, and sometimes I think it was like a servant, but oftentimes it was like your battle buddy, who was your armor bearer. Right. This armor was heavy and it's complicated, and it had all the buckles and ties and all the things you had to affix to make sure that you were covered. Right. But it covers you front, back, your legs, your head. It's everywhere. You can't put on this heavy armor covering your entire body and make sure that it's covering everything sufficiently, right? I don't think they had like super bougie mirrors back then to like, you know, check it out. They had their armor bearer not only help them put the armor on, but then inspect it to make sure if there was any weak spots, they could help fix it. Right. And like that is biblical marriage, right? It's me helping you put your armor on and showing you where you're weak and helping you fix it. And it's you doing the same for me, and not once, daily. Right? Every struggle, every victory. Like we celebrate winning in battle together, but before that battle, we prepare together. Whether that's in prayer, whether that's in word time, whether that's in open communication, confession, whatever. Like all forms of this, you have to check each other's armor. Yeah. And you have to realize that like where one falls, the other falls. If you fall, it unravels both of us. We're the same in God's eyes. Right. And I think a lot of people don't look at it like that. You'll hear things like, oh, well, my wife struggles with X, or I struggle with, like, no, your marriage struggles with that.
Right.
You know?
Right.
And it's hard, I think, to get to that point as an individual, when you enter a covenant to stop looking at yourself like an individual. Because you're not. It's not my money. It's not your this. It's not my that. It's us. All of it's us. And I think it's an advantage that we have that we treat, I think, almost everything like a us thing. You know, like you're not out hunting as much as I am, and I'm not out writing as many blog posts as you are. But together, I'm hunting, you're gathering, and we're figuring it out. You know what I'm saying?
Have our the gifts and what we're good at, right? And together, it works. And I think that there is something to be said for the level of communication in the bad things.
Yeah.
Because I can't count how many friends of mine come to me before they went to their husband or future spouse.
Sure.
About issues, right? And I understand the thought to vent. I do. But you are then just letting out pieces of what's you, right? Yeah. What's in your marriage, and you're giving it to your mom, your dad, your friends. You're now venting about things that should be in your home that only can be solved through communication with the other half of you. And the worldly idea that we can go out and just tell family members, whomever, and invite them into, you're not married to those people. You're not married to your parents. You're not married to your best friend. You're not married to any of those people. You need to keep the communication, good or bad, in-house. And I feel that way about the good stuff too. Sometimes I think that there's almost too much bragging that can happen. Yeah. You know, 100%. So what is the point? Are you trying to make someone feel bad about their marriage because yours is great? You know, I've caught myself, especially in the beginning of our marriage, when obviously honeymoon phase, all of that. And
I don't know about you. I think I'm going on 12 years of a honeymoon phase right now.
But it was very much a Kayle did this and Kayle did that for me and Kayle did, and it just
people are like, I get it.
Right. And I think that there's example of things I've stopped doing.
Yeah.
When you get me little cards, little notes, years ago, I would take a picture of them and I would put them on the internet. For whose checkbox?
Yeah.
Because I'm still saving it in my drawer. I still can look at it every day. What am I trying to prove? Now, there's certainly moments where you give flowers on a Tuesday for no reason. Aw, look at my pretty flowers. Yeah. Fine. But the intimate cards, the notes, the things that are meant to be in your relationship, I'm not sure we've gone the right way with that as people, with putting it all out there, because we start with just our local people, right? Friends, family, neighbors, whatever. Look what he does for me. Look what he did for me. Look what she did for me. Look what...
But it's a look. The intention behind it is to go, look how happy I am, and you're not.
Intimacy gets talked about. And now your friends know what the people are interested in really personal things in your marriage.
Yeah.
And then it's getting put on the internet. You know,
I could be wrong, but I feel like I've read a proverb that's basically like, oh man, I almost just mixed a Lil Wayne song with Proverbs. We need to just stop and pray right now. No, but
featuring.
No, but the essence of it, because now I've lost all words, was it's something like, don't let people know where you're moving, right? And this is where Wayne comes in. Real G's move in silence like lasagna. You know what I'm saying? Like, when you are out trying to do something, before you cross that finish line, don't tell everybody, right? Because the people who are against you now know what you're up to and have a way to throw roadblocks in your way. Just, if you're going to be happy, be happy. If you're going to accomplish that thing, accomplish that thing.
Right.
If you need prayer along the way, talk to your circle, starting with your spouse. But I also think there's something to, in the beginning of our relationship, every issue I had, I ran to my family. I ran to my friends. I was 22. I was 22 years old. Okay.
I remember.
Fresh out of a terrible marriage. But like, I didn't really think about it like that.
Right.
It was like me and my people, right? And you're the new thing. And so like, when I'm feeling some type of way, I go to my people. I'm calling my friends. I'm calling
off.
And not even just like male friends. I was calling like chicks I went to high school with that I kept like long-standing friendships with. I was calling my parents. I'm like, I don't know. She said blah, blah, blah. I don't know how I feel about that. What say you? And like, all I'm really doing at that point is like, if you really look at your inner circle of friends and family, the close ones, not like the fifth cousin, right? But like the people who are gonna like rock with you for real.
Yeah.
If you are planting in their head doubt about your circumstance, how could they ever possibly intercede on your behalf?
Right, you're sowing seeds of
You
doubt.
are poisoning your own well that you then are going to draw water from and try to drink.
Right. I'm like, wait. No, they
Like,
changed.
wait,
No, they're
why,
different. No,
why did none of y'all support my marriage?
Right.
Why did none of y'all want me to be happy? Well, it's not that. They only knew what you told. And you're planting this, she doesn't let me do that. She said this. She doesn't like when I do that. I try to do this and she feels this way. How is any of that any of their business? Right. And like, on the real side of that, the other person should go, hey, you remember when you said you didn't like X? This is why I don't agree with that. Let's have a conversation like adults.
Right.
And then moms and the friends and all these other people don't ever have to hear about it. Right. Talk about your problems. Biblical conflict resolution says when you have a problem with a brother, go to that brother.
Yep.
And it says if you can't resolve it, then go to an elder. But that's among brothers, not among spouses.
Right. Yeah, I think that there's an important piece there with the thought that the advice of others is going to be helpful. And I think that if there's any seriousness at all, and this is even just in dating, right? Pre-marriage, if there's even a thought in your head that you're going to date somebody for the purpose of marriage, which really why you dating if you're not.
Especially over like 30.
Right. I mean, right. This is not for the high school crowd. Granted, okay, I'm not even gonna go down the road. But the thought is that if you have a gripe that you need an opinion on, it should go to the spouse or the other half if you're not married, whatever. Anyway. Because all you're going to do is bring it to family, bring it to friends, and then come back with like your arsenal of 300 people's opinions.
Well, my mama said.
Right. and other worldviews. I'm still sitting here trying to contemplate why lasagna moved weird. So, do you see what, like, your lyrics alone have your own worldview?
Do you need help?
I need help.
G is Lil Wayne's poem. The G in lasagna is silent.
I get it now.
Come on. Bro, when did that song come on? And this whole time, you've just been like, that's some quiet pasta.
Yeah. You said it, I'm like, like the marriage talk's good and all, but like, why is the lasagna? I was like, not moving? Is that what he said? Bro, he's not doing? I don't know.
That is hilarious.
Sorry. I'm old now. I don't remember anything.
Oh, man. Well, and I think
see, that's our different worldview. The way that you move through life is how you keep those pieces of information in your head, and that's how you think about things. I wouldn't have worded it that way. But I love you.
I think another thing though that's important on what we just touched on is that when you go to people outside of your home, and I guess that's not even all encompassing because maybe you live with the friends or family, whatever.
Right.
When you go to people outside of the covenant of your marriage, seeking advice, excuse me, I think the most important thing to realize is that no one can give you credible advice if their vision, their goals, and their motives are not aligned with yours. And truly, the only person I've ever met on earth that those three things are in line with me is the person who I casted this vision with, the person who I decided what these goals should look like, Lord willing, right? The person I planned and mapped all these things out with. You're the only person who knows my goals, my motives, my heart behind it, where I see this going. So how is Jim down the street or whatever, like, his vision is not aligned with my vision. His values aren't aligned with my values. Like, so the qualification of his opinion is no, immediate. And that's literally any outside.
Well, then he wasn't there for the entirety of the relationship to have the full scope of the situation, conversation, right, disagreement, whatever. Right. Anytime you go to someone outside of your relationship or marriage, you're bringing the one-sided version. And there's zero, it is not real. There is no your truth and my truth. It does not exist. There is literally only the truth. Anyone who wants to disagree, totally fine. You live in your bubble.
The truth is found?
Oh, it's right here. It's right here.
Shameless plug.
But
Jesus.
the point of that is you can't bring half of a conversation to somebody else and even get sound advice.
Right.
So I'm not saying don't talk to your family. Hey, how's it going? How's the family? Good. And Timmy's doing soccer and Sally's doing whatever. Sure, that's all well and good and lovely. But if you are bringing marital issues, bedroom stuff, anything at all you're doing is sowing seeds of doubt that are going to grow and flower into real family issues.
Bitterness.
Right. And that splits up marriages, it splits up households, it splits up families. And you end up in a situation where you either have to put those people to the side or you have to put your spouse to the side. Mm-hmm. And at this point, your spouse is half of you. Mm. So now that's a bigger problem.
Yeah, and I mean, it goes back to how we started this about intentionality, right? And before I fully roll into that, I saw somebody on the live who is a really close brother of mine. I've never met him in real life, but we vibe with each other on prayers. When something's going on, we talk to each other.
Yeah.
Like off the platform, right? Like we have each other's cell phone numbers. We talk to each other. When Elijah was going through his thing, I called him.
Yeah.
We prayed together. I don't think, as we're talking about the
boundaries
of communication, right? Like, we're not saying silo the world out.
No.
If you are facing adversity and facing a problem in the home, it's not crossing the line to ask for prayer. You don't have to give all the pornographic details to say, man, we're going through a season.
However,
and prayer would be great.
In asking for prayer, if before you ask for prayer, you can't say, hey, this is what's going on in my household and my wife and I are praying about it together. I would love if you would too. Then don't say it at
all. Come on. That's a t-shirt. No, for real though. For real though. If the first person that you call for prayer is not your spouse or your pastor, you are wrong.
Spouse
if you're married.
Then
right, I said spouse first, I think. But that's a good.
You said or. Spouse then.
Yeah.
I think.
That's fair.
Would be my recommendation.
It would be call the pastor with your spouse. 3-way.
The point is, if the spouse is living in a home where they don't even know there's a problem in your head about anything.
But your friends do.
But your friends do. Your pastor does. Your mommy does. Your daddy does. There's a problem.
Yeah. Joe at work.
Problem.
Yeah.
It's a problem.
But this goes into what we were talking about. Why are we awake? It's 2:04 a.m. Why are we awake right now? Because we take the time to have the conversation.
Because we only talk to people 14 and younger all day long.
No, but for real, like, marriage isn't easy, right? I mean, our marriage is fairly easy as marriages go, I think, but there's decisions to be made throughout the entire day.
Yeah.
Am I going to be selfish with my time, or am I going to put that time into us? Am I going to go do what I want to do, or am I going to kick it with the kids? Like, it's all day long, little decisions that at the end of the day, at 2 o'clock in the morning, when I'm sitting at the table or laying in bed with you, I'm choosing to be there. Because I know we're watering the plant that is our marriage, and we want it to continue to grow and not become stagnant over time. That's something in our age range, and maybe a little older than us too. It's culturally expected for your marriage to become stagnant after a certain amount of time.
Yeah.
Both
it's a joke.
In physical intimacy, communication, all of it.
Yeah.
Like, people are like, oh, how's it going? Like, well, I don't like Betsy, whatever. Well, I mean, we've been together 20 years. You get it. Oh, yeah, 20 years. Like, what?
Yeah.
Like, dude, this would be a dozen years with you. And, like, one night away, I'm like, it's cool, boys, but, like, can I leave early?
I do more now than I did then.
100%. And it's because we know each other in ways and levels that I didn't know you could know another person.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, for real. But that takes work. It's an investment. Every day, every decision, you're making choices that affect 2 years, 5 years, 10 years later.
I do think that being intentional in certain moments drives or inspires, if you will, constant want to be around that person.
And serving, because you say that.
Right.
I'll go out of my way and I'll do something.
Right.
And you'll see that. And I don't do it like, hey, babe, look what I did. I'm just like, oh, man, I see my wife's doing 3 things. That 4th thing, I could probably knock that out. And I just do it. And like 3 days later, you'll be like, did you do that thing the other day? And I'll be like, yeah, well, you were busy. And your brain it's not a one-upper tit for tat kind of system.
No.
You just then get inspired to serve two in a way that might be atypical or whatever. It inspires, like you were saying, it inspires us to go out of our way for the other person more.
Oh, and that's how most relationships work. It's reciprocal.
Yeah.
And there's always one doing a little more than the other in certain periods of life because we all go through things.
Yeah.
Sometimes you're dealing with whatever it is, anxiety, something's going on, right? And I have the spiritual, physical, and mental wherewithal to put in a little more. And then sometimes I have a broken tibial plateau and you have to pick me up and set me down and carry me around the house to even exist, and you're cooking every single meal and you're taking us around the world in different meals. Regardless of each moment, one of us is up, one of us is down. And in a marriage, if you're not compensating in that moment, then why are you there?
Right.
You know, I just, any relationship you're in has, biblically, obviously, you're the leader of the home, right? But as a team, sometimes I'm the one who says what the plans are, right? Because I'm the scheduler. And you're like, hey, I'll be there. Then you're like, hey, this is what I think about these values. I want to discuss this, this, and this, right? So there's a level of exchange that happens between us where one gives and one takes. And sometimes you're the leader in a discussion. Sometimes I'm the leader in a discussion because we're both leading our children.
Right.
In this household.
We also know each other's strengths and weaknesses. If we're talking about the kids' homeschooling and education, you are way more of a collegiate academic than I am in that regard, right? I'm never going to put myself as the leader of their schooling. You got that. That you have a gifting for that. I don't.
I think I'm just better at planning it. You're clearly smarter,
I think you just pay attention to details.
That might
Whatever.
Be
My point is that we divide and conquer. We don't have this well, I read somewhere in here the wife has to submit to the husband, the end, period. Not going to read the rest of that passage, right? It's it's a mutual submission.
Hey, I got these gifts, you got these gifts, let's use them together.
But in the way that the order of submission is spoken about in there is you submit to me, I submit to God, therefore we're one, right? So you're submitting to the marriage that is under submission to God, but at the end of the day, we're both submitted to God.
But if in the marriage, you're constantly trying to serve the other person, you don't have time to think about yourself anyway.
And that's the
And then you're being served. I don't think, oh man, he never gets me this thing. He doesn't do this. Because half my day is spent, hey babe, do you need a tea? Hey, do you need this? Hey, can I do that for you? And then I'm making sure that everything else in this whole household runs properly. We're serving each other. We're serving the family. And it allows for a lack of selfishness.
Right.
And servanthood begets more servanthood, is the point. And in any relationship, it inspires the other person to want to. And if you're in a relationship where you're the only one constantly serving and the crash test dummy that you're married to only sits on the couch and never leaves it, then that's a different discussion. But
I want to read this to you, and I flipped right to it. And you know this passage, but we were just talking about this, and you just said something, and I already forget, but it's something about serving and how it inspires more serving, and it's the model for how we're supposed to do this, right? Jesus told us that. That's not just oh, well, when we serve each other, it begets more serving, and that's nice. No, he said, literally, he says this, right? Wives, submit to your husbands as to the Lord. What is this? CSB. Ephesians 4, starting at 22. Wives, submit to your husbands as to the Lord, because the husband is the head of the wife, as Christ is the head of the church. He is the Savior of the body. Now, as the church submits to Christ, so also our wives to submit to their husbands in everything. Husbands, love your wife just as Christ loved the church and gave himself for her to make her holy, cleansing her with the washing of water by the word. So we can pause there. Jesus obviously still loves the church, right? The church, the bride of Christ, that's the body of believers. But this is past tense. How did Jesus love, past tense, the church to make her holy on earth? Right? This is life and what would be the church, the disciples, and the immediate missions up to crucifixion. He washed their feet.
Right.
He could have demanded praise and honor and glory, and he did none of that. The way that he loved the church was by taking their shoes off, knowing he was dying in the morning.
Because it was a need.
And washing their feet.
He fulfilled a need.
He found a way to serve and then told them to love in the same manner.
Mm-hmm.
So when people read this, they get it twisted. They're, oh, well, wives, you submit to me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
there's more.
There's more. There's more. If I am to love you the way Christ loved the church while he was on earth, it's almost like we're both supposed to be finding ways to serve one another.
Yeah.
Sorry if my puppet shadow distracted
I was
you.
like...
I think it's important context, and it's true. Like, we have happened to find a really good groove in bidirectional servitude to one another in ways that we know the other person may not be deficient in, but certainly could benefit from help in that area. You know what I mean? Even if it's something like, you handle the dishes 9 times out of 10, but that one time I see they're stacked up and you're busy and I do them, it's not like, well, that's my wife's job. It's like, hey, I know she already was probably going to do that, but I have a minute and she doesn't, so I'm just going to step in that gap for her. Right? It's filling the gaps for one another, and that's what keeps you unified. Right? There was a prospect in the club that used to say, no light between us. Like, we're locked arms. And I'm like, I don't know that I like the way that lands. Like, being Christians, like, we should be like surrounded by light. Right? Say like no light between. He meant like there's no gaps.
Right.
Like, we're
your armor bearer.
Right. But like that's what we strive for, and we fall short. You know, we miss things and have to own up to it. But
I think that's how we've grown into better communicators now. Because in the missing things, there's later moments.
Yeah.
But that's something happens on a Monday, and by Friday, it's been stewing a little. Right? I'm not going to bed angry, but it's a thought, right? And finally, I go, okay, I've had a minute to think on this. I want to bring this to you, this situation and how you handled it. I didn't love, or I don't know that you going to do this thing is really the best use of your time in the situation we're in, or whatever the case may be, right? Or I don't love when you talk to a certain person about stuff in the relationship, whatever it is. Communicating it has allowed us now to get to a point where when we do fall short, we communicate on Tuesday instead of on Friday.
That's right.
Because we know that the response we're going to get is a calm and logical and not attacked. And there's a level of accountability taken, usually on both parts, because there's, again, always 2 parts to the truth, right? There's always multiple sides to a story.
Sure. Well, there's like 3, right? There's your side, my side, and then your version, my version, the version that includes both.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
I would like to hear, like, I don't want to like prompt you here, but as you were talking, I kind of hoped that you were going to go into it. You have a good way of kind of summing up from the advice that your mom gave you about choosing your battles. And I think that while we said, you know, if you have an issue, take that to your spouse. Like, obviously, right? 100%. But you have to nag your spouse on everything you disagree with. Right. You know, I love the way that you put this.
Hold on, there's something in my eye. I'm so sorry. So being previously married and young and controlling, and that being part of my nature, and having to identify that is a downfall of who I am, right? Like, and it can be a good thing. I can be really organized and make sure stuff gets done, but I also can like feel anxiety if things didn't go the way I thought they were going to go. Sure. And when I was younger, I didn't have a grasp of how that affected me. So in going through the rough parts of my previous marriage, you know, my mom said, Cass, I get these things seem disrespectful and irritating or annoying. But you need to learn to choose your battles. Is it going to affect your day more to go downstairs and yell about laundry on the floor next to the hamper, or to just pick it up and put it in there? I get that it's frustrating, and you've probably said it before, and maybe down the road, you can go, hey, I'd like to talk about this.
Would there be a better laundry solution?
Right. And there's just, if it's small, and I understand all the small things add up to a fault. In my last marriage, I literally started to write all the little things down. I said, that's fine. I physically wrote them down because I was so tired of not being heard. And I was like, that's it. So I started writing all of them. So finally, one day when it came down to like the 3 a.m. Call of Duty, nothing is done nonsense, I was like, here you go. Here's the list. She's like, are you kidding me? You kept a list? I'm like, I had to. You didn't hear me. You didn't hear me the 300 other times. And I was trying to choose my battles, like my mom said, but everything's battle. So here we are.
No more time for battle. It's war.
It's Call of Duty. Came full circle. No, but in that, there's good communication that comes from the timing in choosing your battles. Yeah. Choosing your battles doesn't mean don't say anything at all ever.
Yeah.
Choose your timing and don't make a battle out of it. You can choose to communicate. You can have foreign relations, if you will, without having an all-out war. Not everything has to be screamed about.
And I think one of the most important things too is sometimes you got to walk away for a second and you got to pray.
Yeah.
So that you can clear your head and figure out what your intention is before you go into that battle, which I kind of even hate that term talking about just marital conflict resolution, but
well, we don't.
Are you approaching your spouse to win, to be right?
Right.
Are you approaching your spouse to say, I told you so?
Right.
Or are you approaching your spouse to mutually find a solution?
Right.
And I think that one of those options requires a little bit of break.
Right. Well, there's a couple pieces here, right? And from my more business-sided brain, anything that's expected in any relationship, business dealing, contract, which a marriage technically starts as, if something's got to change, we need a change order,
right?
Which is a level of communication. That's why we use them.
It's mutually agreed upon.
It's mutually agreed upon. Now, obviously, it's a relationship, and we're human beings, so we're not filing paperwork every time somebody wants to use a different bathroom.
If you had it your way, we would.
No, I'm past that now. But on the other half of it is stopping yourself from getting to the point in the triangle of information that lives in every single person, which is, I have an emotion about this thing, whatever the thing is. That emotion causes some action or reaction in that, while also fueling thoughts. Those thoughts then fuel actions. Those actions then start fueling the emotions, and they go in circles, where no one once put a change order in the middle and just said, hey, can we sit here and nicely talk about a potential change that would make me not want to do this action or say these words because I had this one emotion and it grew and grew into these thoughts, and then those fueled worse emotions, where you could have stopped at the small emotion and said, hey, I have a thought about this and I don't know what your thought is, but it is affecting me. So I want to talk about it. And if you do that there, rather than when you're already way out here and angry, and you've gone through 15 potential conversations in your head.
Oh, you've heard all the responses.
You've heard the responses already because you know them so well. And the number of times that I've come to you early on in your accountability, what was yesterday? Elijah had sent how he put a video. He sent me a video of how well he cleaned up the laundry room mess that was going on down there.
Crap.
And on top of your safe, you had all your hunting stuff stacked up right like in the doorway. And it's a regular, hey babe, can we just not set anything there? Because when a guest walks in the door, they could see it. So like I don't want them to see it. You just put it any other cubby that you have. And I didn't have to say a whole lot. It wasn't, I didn't have time. It wasn't like a whole...
You didn't even have to say it the way that you just articulated it. It was shorter than that.
Yeah.
You said, hey, I feel like I've said
how
that's the entryway. Like, we've done this. But
and you're like, yep.
You weren't rude about it. I was like, you know what, 100%. Can I tell you why my hunting crap was up there? And you're like, nope.
I don't care.
It doesn't matter. And I'm like, okay, but I'm going to tell you anyway. So this is what happened. You're like, And I was like, you know what? As soon as I wake up, I'm going to take care of that.
Because it's already been communicated.
Right.
That's the change order.
Right.
You know what I mean?
And I didn't even wait till I woke up.
No, you didn't.
I got up to use the bathroom or something. I was like, you know what? I'm up. I'm just going to go handle that so I don't forget in the morning. And then she's like, you remember when I calmly brought it to you?
There's the irony, though. Because the second you did it earlier than I thought you were going to, I felt like he's so good.
Right. I got
it. Your action initially that caused an emotion and then a thought.
You keep having these triangles going in circles, and all I'm picturing is like ninja stars.
See, this is the
because you drew a triangle and you said it keeps going in circles.
Well,
and so I'm like, there's ninja stars flying in my head.
You can't just have stuff sitting in a circle wherever it wants to be.
I think it's going in triangles.
It just three things make a triangle. You can still travel in a triangle. You not just a sharp turn, but it's a turn nonetheless.
See, it's my geometry brain.
The G is silent. The G is silent.
Not in geometry.
Oh.
Yeah, shit. Anyway, I don't know what
no, it's Roth in the Reef. I'm never saying G's again. Yeah. So I think the point of that little anecdote was that communicating it quietly led to accountability. And even a slight response, hey, do you want to hear why I did it? And I'm like, not really, but if you want to tell me,
you gotta get it off your chest.
If it makes you feel better. But today, you complimented a way that I handled something with Scarlett, I think. And you said, hey, the old way you would have handled that some time ago would have been a little different.
Mm-hmm.
It would have been, I don't want to even hear, just
mind your business.
Mind your business, do that. Or was it with Elijah?
It was Elijah asking why Scarlett. Yeah, got chastised for something.
Right. And yeah, so Scarlett got the little talking to about whatever. And Elijah kind of came in and was like, wait.
What happened with her?
What happened? And also, am I part of the problem? And I was like, technically, yeah. But you weren't in the room for the conversation. I didn't even know you heard it, so I wasn't gonna go find you.
Yeah.
But she had questions and she got answers. And either way, after that was done, you came to me and commended me on how I handled that situation, and then told me how I probably would have in the past.
Yeah.
And those moments are important too, because maybe in the past you wouldn't have said, hey, babe, maybe not exactly like that would be good. You know, you might have, you might not have, right? But we've grown as parents over time. And in doing that, you communicate the good things too. Yeah. Say, hey, I see growth.
Right.
I see the change. So,
and it helps.
Well, your inner Cass is spicy and wants to say things less nicely than I'm tired. Anyway, then you chose not to. You had self-control. You worded it in a way where nobody felt attacked.
Yeah.
Right? And that goes back to the choosing your battles, right? Because in my previous marriage, that was the reason the shutdown was happening, because I did attack with words. That was like my gift, if you will, which no one else thought it was.
It's not a gift.
It's not a gift. No. Anyway, God's working on me. But learning to just take that and go, okay, calm words.
And I think that goes back to what I was saying a minute ago on this too, is it's what's your intention? Mm-hmm. Are you going to your child to finally be heard? Right. Are you going to your child to be right? To be smarter than them?
Right.
Are you going to get a different action or reaction to a situation? Right? To invoke understanding for the future so that it doesn't happen again. Sure, like, don't spare the rod, spoil the child, whatever. But I'm saying, check your heart posture pre-confrontation.
Yeah.
And it'll change the trajectory of the confrontation. 100%. Because if you just go in there riled up, what are you going to accomplish?
Right.
Because you're definitely not going to show that child how to biblically solve conflict.
Right.
Amongst loved ones. Like, there's plenty of biblical conflict in the first half of this book that's pretty intense.
Right.
Right? But I'm saying,
still start at the beginning.
Yeah.
With the soft communication.
Sure. Anyway, I think we're close to beating the dead horse. And
Yeah.
I'm sleepy.
I'm sleepy
Would
too.
you like to do the honors of praying us out, or would you like me to?
Sure.
Either way is fine with me.
Doesn't matter to me.
Go ahead.
All right. Thank you, Lord, for these late nights and long talks and the ability to sit here with a roof over our head and do so. Lord, I pray for everyone listening to this that you would guide them in their relationships, in their marriages, with their spouses, with their boyfriends or girlfriends or fiancés. And Lord, for the people listening as parents, that you would help guide them in how they react and how they communicate and choose their battles, Lord. I thank you for the ability to be here in this evening. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. We did it.
We did it.